Ohai. Ufa, the million-strong city in Russia, the capital of the Republic of Bashkortostan, the administrative center of the Ufa district, which part is not. The city of Republican value, forms the municipal unit the city of Ufa with the status of the city district. Center of the Ufa agglomeration. Is among the largest economic, cultural and scientific centers of the Russian Federation. Historic center of the Ufa County, Ufa Province, Ufa Namestnichestvo, Ufa and Simbirsk Governorate General, Ufa Region, Ufa Province. It is located on the Ufa Peninsula, in a watershed of the Beloy and Ufa rivers. Name. There are several versions of origin of the name of the city. 1755. Rikov P. 1. Wrote in Topography of the Orenburg province that it is possible to guess a rank of the city of Ufa, that it is given it not again, but former, and real, that which cons are from olden days hardy in local places is more renewed.
It's a river because no region is visible that do the city build over the river wide but size against Ufa is twice more do you have to be referred to down the river to Ufa which wide falls into the river from the right party on its current versts about 3 or higher than the city where there is none of the building.
To that over the Ufa river from the city versts in 5, on very high and wonderful place, the ancient settlement, where as tell, constitute until now is visible. And so could be that this ancient settlement down the river to Ufa flowing beside it present the cities of Ufa. Ufa is referred to as before, and to the post blowing and the Russian construction the city of Ufa it is called. Bashkirs call the Ufa River Ufa Ideal, that Ufa River, and White Joint Stock Company Ideal, that is the White River, means. Mikhail Samov, 1864.
Wrote in the Orenburg provincial sheets, most likely to accept opinion of one of our Orientalists who assumes that it occurred from unitary enterprise, the height, changed over time in the word Ufa.
It is very plausible if to take into account that Stanovishty Khan, as it is told above, was on the sublime bank of the river of Ufa, which also could receive then the same name. Before this river was probably called, is also now sometimes is called Bashkirs. Kara Ideal, the dark river, and light color of the Beloy river. The name of Ufa, maybe, was given before one Hansky dwelling, whereas the city could hereinafter be referred to as Turataf. In the memorable book of the Orenburg province for 1865, the following version is provided. On Pravik Vozvanik Baragak Bla Korod Ufa. A word Bashkir to mean dark water. Type called long since Bashkirts. Qzvar, G. Referring to Kamalave, A. Specifies that the name comes from the word Up, the river, meeting in the Baltic languages. According to A. K. Netviv, the name of the river of the Iranian origin, from AP, water. According to the linguisticologist N. K. Dmitriev and the local historian A. N. Sergiev, the name of the city comes from the word Uba, that in Bashkir means hill barrow. D. G.
Have built the name Ufa through an intermediate form over UVA to a word Virginia, river, in the Komi language. There is also a version of origin of the name from an ethnonym of the Bashkir tribe Up.
Bash. By. Which are settled down the river to Ufa. Geographical location. The city of Ufa is located on the riverbank by Bela, at confluence in it of the Ufa rivers and Dioma, on the Prabelski Uvalistowavi plain, in 100 km to the west from ridges of South Ural.
Lies mainly two entre rios of the Belo and Ufa rivers, on the Ufa Peninsula.
The city landscape substantially defined development, building, planning and modern look of Ufa. The river Termo divides the Ufa Peninsula into Belsko-Sutolotsky and Sutolotsko-Vimsky parts. Landscapes. The Sutolotsky Ravine. The square of the city makes 708 or 715 km, city border extent minus 232 km. Ufa the most spacious, by criterion of population density. The million-strong city of Russia, and the fifth city of Russia on the area and on extent the city of Russia. Ufa is in our zone +2.
Shift of the applied time concerning Utes is +500.
According to the applied time and geographical longitude, average solar midday in Ufa comes at 1316. Hydrography. Belo River width near the city -400 m, an average depth -1.55 m, water level in a high water rises by 6-9 m. Ufa River width -300 m, average depth -2.5 m. The climate is moderate and continental, but is slightly softer than in Yekaterinburg or Perm. Average temperature. January -15 C. July -19.7 C. The minimum temperature was on January 1, 1979 -48.5 C, maximum in 1952 38.6 C. Average annual air temperature -3.8 C. An average amount of precipitation -418. In a left bank part. The cooperative glade, the backwater. Up to 349, and in right bank up to 550, 600 m year. Ecology. In the 60s, the last century, in Ufa at Kimprim Production Association. The plant is abandoned in present time. Occurred several accidents in shop no. 19 on production of chlorphenoxy-acetic herbicides. D2T and their salts. Containing byproducts, T-ed was basic of which. Defeats of employees of the plant with the most severe poisoning, achloric and a lethal outcome became result of accidents. The territory of the shop also underwent pollution and still constitutes big danger. But despite the occurred accidents in shop no.
5 continued to make 2 fee.
The number of T-ed which polluted the territory of the plant is estimated more than 200k. Its most part was buried in sludge collectors.
A huge danger to the city is constituted by penetration of T-ed of sludge collectors in groundwaters, which can filter through water-permeable layers upward, thereby allowing toxin to get out in high layers of the soil and the atmosphere.
The big blow to city ecology was also struck by the phenolic accident which occurred during the period from November 1989 to March 1990 at the same chemical plant, Ufa Kimprim, as in a case with pollution by dioxin. Owing to accident, the Chernushka, Shugorovka, Ufa rivers were hard polluted.
Total number of the population consuming the drinking water polluted by phenol from the southern water intake of Ufa was people. The main contribution to emissions from stationary sources is made by the enterprises of oil processing industry -71% and power -4.3%.
Motor transport share in the total amount of emissions of pollutants in the atmosphere -22%. Counting on one resident intake of pollutants in the atmosphere made 0.190 t. The history of Ufa begins with 1574. According to other data, with 1586. Years from construction of the Ufa Kremlin. The founder of fortress is the voivode Ivan Nago, the first city voivode is Mikhail Nago. Since the end of the 16th century, Ufa was used as the place of political exile. Ufa sustained many attacks and sieges in the 17th-18th centuries, but was never taken. Including, it sustained 4 months blockade and storms during Peasant War of 1773-1775. At evacuation in the Great Patriotic War, Ufa evacuated industrial enterprises, scientific and educational institutions, and people. A number of ancient settlements, such as Ufa of 2, about 2 hectares and finds of 4/VX of centuries, and elite burials of the 5-7 centuries of Turboslinsky culture correlate to the settlements preceding Ufa. The two number of researchers connect the medieval town designated as Paskerti. On the card of 1337 of Brothers of Pizzigani, in the Catalan Atlas of 1375, and later also on the card of 1554 of G. Mercator with the ancient settlement Ufa. Also the city of Bashkurt. Bashkort. Mentioned by the Arab author of the 14th century Ibn Khaldun, and others among the largest cities of the Golden Horde is identified with the ancient settlement. The French Orientalist A. Body connects provision of this city on the card with location of modern Ufa, and the Western European cartographers of the 14th, 16th centuries placed it near the mouth of the Ufa River.
In the 16th century, on the place of modern Ufa, there was the deputies raid by the Nogai horde of MNKL.
The Oak City. P. 1.
Read on and the handwritten documents which did not reach us on the history of the Ufa province contained the beginnings of the 16th centuries and historical legends of the Bashkir people. Wrote that in the territory of the city of Ufa before receipt of Russians there was a big city stretching on the high river bank Bella from the mouth of the Ufa river.
M. Samov wrote. The place taken by Ufa, as it is told above, was populated for a long time with Bashkirs, which Khan had the Stanovish here. Structures of Bashkirs and even Stanovish the Khan were wooden. Why there is no trace of their existence left, except barrows.
Stanovish of the Khan was on the sublime and picturesque bank of the river of Ufa, which is called the damned ancient settlement now.
Bashkirtsa lived in Ufa only in the winter. For the summer went to wander to the places comfortable for pastures of their cattle.
The city was based on the same place where was before Bashkir, is only closer to the rivers to Turmoil and Bela.
Fortress basis.
After inclusion in 1557 of Bashkortistan in structure of the Moscow kingdom, Bashkirs addressed Ivan IV with Chalabati about construction on their city land.
P. 1. Rykov wrote about this event.
Unreliable bearings was that Bashkirits about creation of this city to a Chalabati they had in 1781.
1573. Not only for this purpose one that it put on them Yasak here as in their dwellings to pay Wizalgotni, but also from enemies to have it a shelter and protection here. In a Shezer of Bashkirs of the tribe of Ayermata it is said, it was difficult to carry Yasak to the city of Kazan which was far. And the great Tsar asked to build the city of Ufa on the earth.
In a Shezer of Southeast Bashkirs is narrated that Bashkirs began to ask to build the Tsar that for reflection of a tax and for an udabnost of a contribution of Yasak it was permitted on their earth the city.
In 1560 dummy nobleman I.A.
Artemiv by order of Ivan IV come to the Bashkir region for delineation of the space for construction of fortress on the river by Bela Volosk and carrying out a district boundary. On the Pentecost on May 30, 1574 group of the Moscow Sagittariuses landed in the mouth of the rivers of Termol and Inoga.
Here show the first city building of Ufa, the small ordinary church called in honor of the Trinity holiday is built. In 1574 on Troitsky hill, the group of Sagittariuses headed by the voivode Ivan Nagin built the Ufa Kremlin.
In 1586 Ufa receives the status of the city and becomes the administrative center of the Ufa county.
With the advent of the Ufa county in the region the voivodchesky form of government was founded. According to historians, Mikhail Nagoy sent by Moscow became the first voivode. The voivode headed the main administrative agency of the city, the Ufa Mandative Log Hut. The garrison army in 150, 200 Sagittariuses submitted to it. With construction of city walls and emergence of the Poset, the commerce and industry part adjoining closely fortress. The jail which was in the center began to be called the Kremlin. The Kremlin was enclosed with a paling from logs with a total length of 440 meters, over the southern and northern its parts oak towers towered. Within the administrative territorial device, the city of Ufa consists of 7 urban areas, 2 rural settlements. Neotevo is subordinated by 2 Kalininsky district and a Vetoshnikovo, Leninsky district, and also 5 village councils, including 22 settlements, are subordinated to areas directly. The Fyodorovsky Village Council is subordinated to Kalininsky District, the Iskinsky Village Council to Kurovsky District, the Negievsky Village Council to Oktyarsky District, the Novakisk and Terboslinsky Village Councils to Ordzikitsevsky District. The areas and the village councils which are a part of the city are in the territory of the city district, the city of Ufa, but they are not municipal units. Is a result of accession of rural settlements from the neighborhood of the city. The Kirov and Oktober districts have non-compact, consisting of 2 separate parts, territories. At the same time 2 parts of Oktyarsky district are divided by territories of other urban areas, and 2 parts of Kurovsky district are divided by the territories which are not included in structure of the city district. Local government authorities of the city district, the city of Ufa. Council of the city district, the city of Ufa. The Ufa City Council is representative body of municipal self-government, is formed of 36 deputies elected on municipal elections, a term of office -4 years.
The chairman of the board of the city district, the city of Ufa, the head of the city district, the city of Ufa is elected by council from among deputies of council, a term of office -4 years.
The administration of the city district, the city of Ufa. City administration of Ufa is executive body of local government, its structure approves by council for representation of the head of administration. The head of administration of the city district, the city of Ufa, performs management of administration on the principles of one-man management, is appointed under the contract which is signed by results of tender.
The term of office of the head of administration is limited to the period of implementation of powers of council of the corresponding convocation.
The Republican authorities located in Ufa. Head of Bashkortostan. Government of the Republic of Bashkortostan. The State Meeting Kurultai of the Republic of Bashkortostan. Courts are in Ufa: the Constitutional Court of Erb, Arbitration Court of Erb, and the Supreme Court of the Republic of Bashkortostan, and also military, magistrates and district federal courts. Population. For January 1, 2021 on population, the city was in the 11th place from 1116 cities of the Russian Federation. Is also the 31st city of Europe on population. The population of the Ufa agglomeration. The city district, the city of Ufa, municipal districts Ufa, Blagovesky, Shishminsky, Iglinsky, Kamaskalinsky and Kushnerinkovsky districts. Is 1,454,053 people. 2017. Since 2008 there was a natural increase of the population. As of January 1, 2009, 25.4% of all inhabitants of the Republic of 42.2% of urban population fell to the share of the city. The number of women prevails over the number of men. 54.5 and 45.5% respectively. 835 men are the share of 1,000 women. His share of persons is younger than working age of 15.4%, working age minus 65.2%, is more senior than working age minus 19.4%. Average life expectancy for 2016 was women minus 75 years, men minus 66 years. The million resident was born on August 12, 1980, but in view of multinationality of Bashkiria, not one child as by tradition in many cities of the USSR, and at once 3 children, Bashkir Salawat Bazarov, the Russian Pyat Soshnikov and the Tatar Golshad Zarkova.
Ufa became the 11th million-strong city in Russia and the 21st in the USSR became him.
National structure of Ufa according to the All-Russian Population Census of 2010. The Russian minus 48.9%, Tatars minus 28.3%, Bashkirs minus 17.1%, Ukrainians minus 1.2%, persons of other nationalities minus 4.5%.
Economy.
Ufa is a point of growth of economy of Bashkortostan, and makes the significant contribution to economy of Russia. In the city a number of the major types of products of the country, gasoline, diesel fuel and polymers of propylene and also glued plywood, oil and fuel oil is made.
The basis of manufacturing industry of Ufa is made productions of oil products and petrochemistry, biomechanical engineering and chemical industry.
The amount of the chip self-produced products by all types of economic activity of large and medium-sized enterprises of Ufa for 2020 was 1,091.4 billion rubles, that makes 56.6% of the amount of Bashkortostan.
There is a strategy of social and economic development of the city district, the city of Ufa of the Republic of Bashkortostan till 2030.
Industry.
At the beginning of the 20th century in Ufa, the Ufa railway workshops constructed in 1886-1888 together with construction of the Samarovimsky Railroad worked.
The plant on production of the 3.5 million pieces silicate brick in a year is constructed. During industrialization in the USSR in 1929-1932 in Chernikovka constructed the Ufa match factory of a name on May 1 and the central power plant. In 1933-1935, plywood plant, paper mill, the woodworking and tannic and extract plants. In 1931 construction of the plant of Kombanovi Motors began. In 1934 in Ufa the Ufa shoe factory of K. Vorish 11 the Ufa garment factory of a name also worked on March 8. In 1938 the Ufa cracking plant is open. At evacuation of the enterprises in the Great Patriotic War, in Ufa on their base plant No. 85, the cable plant and the plant of the telephone equipment are created.
In 1941 based on the motor plant 6 enterprises of aircraft industry, motor plant No.
26 of Rybinsk plants No. 234 and No. 451 of Leningrad plant No. 219, the Tsayam Project Bureau from Moscow, Design Office of 5. A. The Brenin from Voronezh are placed. At the Ufa locomotive repair plant, Zaporizhia, Gomel and Stanislavsky the locomotive repair plants. Now the city enterprises are engaged in oil processing, chemistry, mechanical engineering. The basis of the economy of the city is made by fuel and energy and machine building complexes. In Ufa about 200 large and medium-sized industrial enterprises are concentrated.
In 2013 it took the 7th place in the rating of 250 largest industrial centers of Russia and 2 years in a row the 2nd place in Forbes rating the best cities of Russia for business in 2012 and 2013.
The amount of the shipped products on the industry for 2020 was 785.4 billion rubles, that makes 54.4% of the amount of Bashkortostan, speed minus 77.8%. In Ufa the large petrochemical complex, which is nowadays consisting of 3 branches Enchi, Bashneft, Bashneftunch, Bashneft Novoil and Bashneft Ufanefem, the oil refining depth on which makes 84.9% is located. Also the plants petrochemical, Aforgsintas, and chemical, the Ufa paint and varnish plant, the industries work. Earlier Afakimprom worked.
In Ufa the large machine and instrument making enterprises are located.
Ufa Engine Industrial Association, Ufa Instrument Making Production Association, Ufa Plant of Microelectronics, Magnetron, Polygon Scientific and Production Enterprise, Bashka Production Association, Progress, Ufa Modular Production Association, Ufa Industrial Practice Enterprise of the All-Russian Society of Blind People, Ufa Teplovormentny Plant, Ufa Modular Enterprise, Chidravlika, Plant of Automotive Components. Ufa Scientific and Production Enterprise, Molnaya, Scientific Design Technology Bureau, Vicar, Ufa Transformer Plant, Burintech Scientific and Production Enterprise. Earlier worked. Ufa Plant Promsvoz, Bashkir Trolleybus Plant, Ufa Experimental Plant Etalon. Transport. Ufa, the large transport hub of Russia. Railway, pipeline, automobile lines, air and riverways.
Navigable Belaya River with the inflow by Ufa is crossed with the historical course of the Trans-Siberian Railway here.
The city is divided by the Ufa rivers and Bela into the central and suburban parts. Highways connect the city to Moscow, Chelyabinsk, Kazan, Samara, Perm and Orenburg. Besides, Ufa, the first city of Russia connected to Moscow at once two federal highways. Street. Petersburg became the second since November 27, 2019. Across the southern outskirts of the city there passes Federal Highway M, Ural, and the Federal Highway M, Volga, comes to an end here. In the southern direction from Ufa the route Ufa-Orenburg begins, it conducts to the international airport Ufa. Communication with the cities, the areas of Republic of Bashkortostan and the closest neighbors is supported by means of bus traffic. Long-distance buses go from the southern bus station. The main Pasarapirvachik Subashevtakrans. In the long-term building of east departure from Ufa, the bridge in Internacionalneu street alignment with an exit to M, construction of the new bridge in Vorovskogo street alignment, prolongation of Salavat-Ulov Avenue on the city north. Railway station.
The project of the railroad Samara, Ufa's latest, Chelyabinsk, Yekaterinburg is approved in 1885.
Железнодорожный bridge through White is built in 1888.
The railway lines passing through Ufa provide communication of the western and central regions of Russia with the Urals and Siberia.
Here the center of the Bashkir office of the Kubyshev Railroad, Russian Railways branch of Jesk is located. In the city 9 railway stations are located. The largest cargo station is the Dioma station. There is also a cargo gasoline station. And passenger, the Ufa station. In November 2008 the first stage of a station complex was opened after reconstruction. From 1965 to 2017 between Ufa and Moscow the signature passenger train, Bashkortostan, plied. Till 1993, Buscaria. Air. Scheduled airlines work since 1938. Regular internal flights to 27 cities of Russia, including to Simferopol.
And also regular international flights to the cities are performed from the international airport of Ufa.
Istanbul, Antalya, Barcelona, Dalaman, Tashkent, Kujant, Bangkok, Dushan, Larnaca, Daebali, Voa, Dubai, Heraklion, Baku and others. In 2014 the airport became the leader in a passenger traffic among air harbors of the Volga Federal District. Besides, within the city there is a sports airfield Zabalski. In 32 km to the west from the city the airfield of easy aircraft of Provisiono is located. In 15 km to the east from the city the airfield Tosh works. Ufa, one of the few cities in the world for which the code of the airport, Ufa, coincides with the complete name of the airport and the city and whose name is used in aircraft without reduction. Water. Navigation on the Belo River officially exists about 150 years.
River walks allow to see the best views of the city as soon as possible, certainly.
River transport. The inland water transport
carries out transportation of goods and passengers by vessels on internal waterways, as on natural.
The rivers, lakes, and on artificial channels, reservoirs. One of the former largest enterprises of the river industry in Ufa, the Bashkir River Shipping Company. In the summer the Ufa ferries work at the Belo and Ufa rivers. Public intracity. Ufa tram, Ufa high-speed tram, Ufa share taxi, Ufa subway and Ufa land subway. Is city transport trams, trolleybuses, buses, share taxis, the taxi work.
Construction of the subway is cancelled. Instead of it, the general plan provided till 2025 the organization of the movement of the high-speed tram.
Bicycle.
For 2018, the total length of bicycle tracks in Ufa was about 72 km.
There is a project of construction of a so-called Big Ufa bicycle ring 67.5 km long. Its main highways should pass on October Avenue and on Mendeleev and Zhukov streets. Besides, it is going to create ring walking bicycle tracks in Gaffuri's parks, forestry specialists, the Victory, Memorial and Kashkadan. Sites. The oldest remained building in Ufa. The apartment one-story corner house on Oktyabrskoye Revolutsiye Street, 57/1 belonging to the famous mine owner Demidov. The building was built in the middle of the 18th century. The house is well known that in November 1774, according to other data, at the beginning of 1775, in it the Russian commander Alexander Vasilievich Suvorev, directed by the Empress Catherine II to the aid in suppression of a Pugatyovsky revolt, stopped. In 1803, Orenburg civil governor Alexei Alexandrovich Varaski developed and provided to the Emperor Alexander I the project of new planning of Ufa. Planning was made by the provincial architect D.M. Delmedico. According to the new master plan, Ufa was offered to be moved to flatter and dry area. Except expansion of the city, it was supposed to lay new streets across long ago of the existing streets. The future of the plan is unknown. After the fire of 1816, the Scottish architect on the Russian service William Jest made the first master plan of the city in the territory of 667. 5 hectares.
In December 1817 it came to Ufa, and together with the provincial land surveyor Smetan made amendments to the plan.
In this type the government approved the project on March 3, 1819. This master plan defined the directions of city building within all the 19th century. According to the plan of Jest, city borders were expanded from Telegrafnia Street to Nikolskaya Street and from the Belu River to Bogorodskaya Street. The architect successfully used the existing building in a land relief. He removed Bolshaya Kozinskaya Street, the main city street, which connected the old center Troitsks and Nizhnotorgovye Square, to new shopping center of the city, to future Gostiny Dvor at Verkantovoye Square. At the same time, the new administrative center of Ufa, Cathedral Square, was connected with Verkantovoye Teatralnoye Ulitsy Square. The administrative shopping center of Ufa remained in the territory of a historical kernel of the city for a long time. The highest building in the city, a 31-story skyscraper, the Ideal Tower, height of 102.3 meters, constructed in December 2018. It is located in a northern part of the city on October Avenue. The second highest building, the central office of Uralsib Finance Corporation. This 26-story building 100.5 meters high. Across the road from it there is an Ufa's first 9-story residential building built in 1962. For 2014 the area of the city district, the city of Ufa of the Republic of Bashkortostan, was 71.6 thousand hectares, of them the built-up territory minus 20,000 hectares. Housing stock makes 23,800,000 square meters. Housing security 21.6 square meters on the person. The coefficient of density of building of the Ufa Peninsula makes 0.55. Average altitude of the city 5 floors.
According to the rating of quality of the urban environment made by the Ministry of Regional Development of the Russian Federation, the Russian Union of Engineers, Federal Construction and Housing and Communal Services Agency, Federal Service for the Oversight of Consumer Protection and Welfare, and also Lomonosov Moscow State University in 2012, Ufa took the 10th place.
According to the integrated rating of 100 largest cities of Russia for 2013 made by the Street Petersburg Institute of Urbanistics, Ufa took the 2nd place on comfort of accommodation. Fountains. In total in Ufa more than 20 water constructions. The oldest of the operating Ufa fountains is the fountain constructed in 1956 at Palace of Culture of Ordzhonikidze. Every year opening of a season of fountains is marked by a holiday during which performances of on-stage performance groups and soloists, game programs for children and teenagers are provided. Gardens and parks. Victory Park. Ufa the Green City, and it is confirmed by a large number of green zones, forest parks with ravines, parks, gardens, squares, avenues and boulevards occupy a significant area in the city. In Ufa 10 recreation parks, 1 military and memorial park, 4 gardens, 3 historical avenues, 6 forest parks, 2 arboretums, 1 botanical garden and 1 liminaria are located. Science and education. 3 centers of development of science are allocated. Institutes of the Ufa Scientific Center RAS. Mathematicians, physics of molecules and crystals, mechanics, petrochemistry and catalysis, organic chemistry and others. Academies of Sciences Respubliki Bashkortostan organizations. Scientific Research Institute of Eye Diseases, Scientific and Publishing Complex, Bashkir Encyclopedia, Center of Hydraulics of Pipeline Transport, Research and Production Institute of Biotransplants and Biological Products of Bioplant, and others. Design and Research Institutes of Private Companies. Rariyufanipneft, Bashapaneftikim and others. Higher education institutions. 8 federal and 1 Republican public institution of the higher education and 3 branches of federal state institutions of the higher education work. They list in a chronological order from the date of the basis. Bashkir State University. It is founded in 1909 as the Ufa Teachers Institute. Bashkir State Agricultural University. It is based on July 23, 1930 as the Bashkir Agricultural Institute. Bashkir State Medical University. It is founded in 1932 as the Bashkir Medical Institute. Ufa State Aviation Technical University. It is founded in 1932 in Rybinsk. In 1941 it is evacuated to Ufa. Ufa State Oil Technical University. It is founded in 1948 as the Ufa Oil Institute. Bashkir State Pedagogical University of M. Akmula. It is founded in 1967 as the Bashkir Teacher Training College. Ufa State Institute of Arts of Zagar Ismagilov. It is opened in 1968 as the Ufa Institute of Arts. Ufa Legal Institute of the Ministry of Internal Affairs of the Russian Federation. It is founded in 1988 as the Ufa Higher School of the Ministry of Internal Affairs of the USSR. The Bashkir Academy of Public Service and Management at the head of the Republic of Bashkortostan. It is founded in 1991 as the Bashkir Commercial Academy. Branches of federal state institutions of the higher education. Ufa branch of Financial University under the government of the Russian Federation. He is educated in 1932 as Training and Counseling Center of VE, since 1958 branch. Bashkir Institute of Physical Culture. Branch of the Ural State University of Physical Culture. He is educated in 1989 as Training and Counseling Center of the Chelyabinsk State Institute of Physical Culture, since 2000 branch, since 2005, the modern name and the status. Ufa Institute. Branch of Plekhanov Russian University of Economics. He is educated in 1959 as Training and Counseling Center of All Union Correspondence Institute of the Soviet Trade, since 1993, branch, since 1997, institute, closed in 2019. Non-state institutions of higher education. Bashkir Institute of Social Technologies. Branch of Academy of Work and Social Relations. It is open in 1963 as Training and Counseling Center of the Higher School of the Trade Union Movement All Union Central Council of Trade Unions, since 1998, branch, since 2004, the modern name and the status. East Economical and Legal Humanitarian Academy. It is founded in 1993 as East Externani Humanities University. Bashkir Cooperative Institute. Branch of the Russian University of Cooperation. It is organized in 1995 as Training and Counseling Center, since 1996, branch, since 2003, institute. Russian Islamic University. It is founded in 1999 as the Russian Islamic Institute of R. Fakreddin. According to a research of Higher School of Economics, Bashkortostan is in the 46th place among regions on demand of regional higher education institutions. Among the million-plus cities of Russia, Ufa takes the last place on demand of the higher education institutions. Culture and art.
Bashkir State Opera and Ballet Theatre, the Bashkir Academic Drama Theatre of Mazita Gafuri Ruski, the Academic Philharmonic Hall of Hussein Akhmatov Drama Theatre, the Ufa State Tatar Theatre, No.
6 state theatres, Bashkir State Opera and Ballet Theatre, the Bashkir Academic Drama Theatre of Mashik Gafuri, the Russian Academic Drama Theatre of Bashkortostan, National Youth Theatre of Mastaya Karim.
The Ufa State Tatar Theatre, Nor, the Bashkir State Puppet Theatre, and 2 private professional theatres, Alternative Theatre, Perspectiva, and the Ufa Classical Theatre of all genres work.
Also the Bashkir State Philharmonic Hall of Hussein Akhmatov works. Libraries.
Scientific Library of the Ufa Ras Scientific Center, National Library of Name A work.
Z. Validi with branches, Republican Basic Library, the Central City Library, the Central City Children's Library of Shens. A.
Hudaybardin, the Bashkir Republican Special Library for Blind People, the Ugatu Scientific and Technical Library.
Besides, in the city there are 25 general and 20 children's libraries. Movie theaters. In Ufa movie theaters work. Homeland Ultra Cinema in Steer World, Soft Movie Theatre in Aircraft Megalopolis, Kinoproster in Steel Scope, Cinema Park in Art Gallery Shopping Mall, Cinema Park in Semia Shopping Mall, Kinemax in Planeta Shopping Mall, Cinema 5 in TX Mercury, Ultra Cinema in Teats Ultra, Cinema 5 in Akron Shopping Center. Earlier work the first permanent Ufa movie theatre, Furor. It is open in 1908, since 1925, Horn, since 1936, Salavat, then was expanded the auditorium. Now the office building, before here was Bashkir Bistro Cafe Bistro, and Pobeda Movie Theatre. Museums. In Ufa more than 50 state and private museums are opened. Galleries and showrooms. In Ufa the Miraz Art Gallery, Sarah Art Gallery, showroom Izid of the Bashkir State Art Museum of M5. Nestarav, the Ufa Art Gallery and small showroom of the Union of Artists of the Republic of Bashkortostan, Euro Gallery, Gallery Xmax, a townhouse of the photo of Damir Yalalov, the Union of Artists of the Republic of Bashkortostan, Clouds Contemporary Art Center, the City Center Art Quadrat work. Earlier the thematic Vate and Ethnopark worked. Music. Ufa the homeland of many rock musicians. Yuri Shevchuk, DDT, Zamfira Rustam Bulatov. Year of the Snake, Treatment of Light and Shade, Amig Station. Rap and Hip Hop Contractors. Viaduct Chapa Manifest, Boulevard Depot, Morgenstern, Basic Boy, Thomas Mraz, Face. Pop Actors. Andrei Gubin, Sergei Prokachikov, Alvin Gray and others. Festivals. In Ufa the international festivals and competitions are held. Since 1995 an open tender of performing musicians of N. Sabatov since 2002 the Organ Sauerfest Festival. The modern name since 2015. Since 2003, the annual jazz festival, Pink Panther. Tender Festival of Ensembles and Orchestras of the National Tools, Call of the Urals. In 2012, 2015 and 2016. Sport. Soccer. Ufa the participant of the Premier League since 2014. Ufa the participant of M-League. Ufa the participant of Championship of Russia among women's teams of the First Division. A Zone Center. Basketball. Ufa resident, the participant of the First Division of the Super League. Volleyball. Ural the participant of the Super League, the Silver Prize winner. 2012/2013. Golden Eagles of the Urals, the participant of Youth Volleyball League, the Bronze Prize winner. 2018/2019. Ufa the participant of the Championship of Russia among women. The highest League A. Handball. Akpizat, the participant of the Championship of Russia among men. Super League. Ufa Alice, the participant of the Championship of Russia among women. Super League. Vandy. Resident of Kirov, the participant Prvenstvo of Russia. The highest league. Since a season 2019/2020. Table tennis. The first official table tennis match in Ufa was played on January 22, 1928 in Club of the Union of Trade Employees, Lenin Street. 14. The former Nobility Assembly. The Federation of Table Tennis of the Republic of Bashkortostan manages table tennis as the Olympic sport. In Ufa more than 100 children play table tennis. Hundreds of republican competitions are held, covering more than 10,000 participants. Bash Club of Table Tennis is created. Ufa is the informal capital of the Russian track motorcycle sport. Since 1966, when FIM began to hold the Personal World Cup, racers from Russia won in it 94 medals. 34 gold, 31 silver and 29 bronze. Ufa residents, leaders in quantity of the gold medals won in the Personal World Cup in races on ice and on total. 10 gold medals from 15 won. Large sports constructions. Universal sports complexes. Sports complex of the international category, biathlon. International horse racing at Bizat complex. Capacity of 6,500 viewers. Sports and demonstration complex of Dynamo. Sports plant Neftionic. Sports springboard complex. Alpine skiing complex, Schoenstock Company Yard. School of the highest sports skill. SHS. Football stadiums. Neftionic, the largest in Ufa, capacity is 15,132 viewers. Home site of FE Ufa. Builder, the capacity of 8,000 viewers, hosts the World Cups in Europe on motorcycle races on ice in the winter. Dynamo capacity is 4,500 viewers. Stadium of N. Castello. Stadium of Sports School of the Olympic Reserve No. 10. Vonik Stadium. Ice arenas. Ufa Arena. Capacity of 80-70 viewers. Salavatulov Sports Palace. Capacity 3,501 viewers. Sports Ulayets Complex. Spaciousness of 200 viewers. Fools. Fool Petrol. Fool Neftionic. Fool Thane. Sports complex of Dynamo. Sports complex Ural. Sports complex Locomotive. Medical and Improving Power Engineering Specialist Complex. Sports complex Beauty and Health. Sports Youth Complex. Sports complex with the swimming pool of Big Pool of M. Akmula. Aquaparks. Planeta Aquapark. Religion. The main religious faiths in the city are the Orthodox Christianity and Islam of Sunni sense. Orthodoxy. Cathedral Church of the Nativity of the Virgin. Bolgorodsk Ufa Temple. Church of the Intercession. Ufa. Krestovoskia Church. Cathedral of the Nativity of the Virgin Bogorodsk and Ufa Temple Church of the Intercession Krestovoskia Church. Ufa, the center of the Ufa and Stalotamik Diocese of the Bashkortostan Metropolitanate of Russian Orthodox Church.
In the second half of the 17th century, in honor of arrival in Ufa from Smolensk of an icon of the Mother of God in the center of the Ufa Kremlin, the first stone Smolenskaya Cathedral Church was built.
It is destroyed in 1955. The operating historical temples. Krestovozovonsky Temple, resident of Nizhny Novgorod. The Pokrovsk Temple, around the Friendship Monument. The Sacred and Sergievsky Cathedral, around the Friendship Monument. The restored and operating temples. The Bogorodsk and Ufa Temple in Inorsa. Cathedral of Christmas of the Virgin, Kirov Street. Nicholas Station Church, at the railway station. Simeono-Verkhotursky Temple, area of Boulevard Ibrahimov. Church of the Sapphire, Oktyaevsko Revolutsai Street. Uspensko Vladimirsky, Uspensky Mother of God, Church of Uspensky Monastery. The temple in honor of an icon of the Mother of God, All Grieving Joe. Temple of the Blessed Prince Alexander Nevsky, Sochinskaya Street. Temple of the Prelate Mitrofan Voronezhsky Uspensky of Monastery. New temples. Ordinary Temple of Blessed Matrona of Moscow, Sipilovo, Big Street. 32A. Pokrovsk Temple, Dmitrievka Street. Nicholas Church, Bulgakovo Street. Nicholas Church, Shaksha. Sacred and Panteleimonovsky Temple, Chernikovka. Church of the Sapphire, Alexievka. Church of Street, George the Victorious, Blackwater, Lyachikov Street. Saint Andrew the First Koled's Temple, Lyoma. Church of the Holy Apostles Peter and Paul, Nagyuvo. Temple of the Prophet Boshia Svayati Ila, Kemerovskaya Street. 89. Kirill equal to the Apostles and Methodi's Temple, Komsomolskaya Street. Temples under construction. All grieving joy of an icon of the Mother of God, the Temple. Flowers of Bascaria. Resurrection Cathedral, Uspensky Temple, on March. Blessed Matrona of Moscow's Temple, Sipilovo, Big Street. 32A. Temple of the Maximovsky icon of the Mother of God, Maximek. Ufa is the place of stay of the central bodies and muftis of Central Muslim Spiritual Board of Russia and Spiritual Administration of Muslims of the Republic of Bashkortostan. During the Bashkir revolts of 1735-1740, the mosque, which was considered as the main mosque in the territory of historical Bashkortostan, was destroyed. The mosque was located at the river Brasuvan, nowadays the village of Chesnukovka of the Ufa district. In it there passed the Bashkirsky People's Assemblies, INA, which were the higher authority in internal self-government of Bashkirs.
The first cathedral mosque was built according to the petition of the Mufti of the Spiritual Administration of Muslims Gabdesalim Gabrakimov in 1830 on Frolovskaya Street,
nowadays Tokayev Street, at the expense of the Tsavukshaysky merchant of the Second Guild Mukman Hozisitov. For 2021 in Ufa 22 mosques, from which 4 mosques, Medina, Ainurs, Maryam, Nur Islam, are located in the adapted rooms work, have no own certain building. Also construction of the mosque Rakim and reconstruction of the 4th cathedral mosque is conducted. Mosques of Ufa: Diomsky District Mosque, Dioma Mosque, Nagyuvo Mosque, Old Terbasla Mosque, Shaksha Mosque Rakim, Salavatulov Avenue, Mosque Asaya, Maximovka, Mosque Kafran, Muslim Cemetery, Mosque Denmark, Timoshevo, Mosque Iklas, Al-Malik, Mosque Isin, Atievka, Mosque Plialityalpan, Chernikotka, Mosque Medina, Dioma, Mosque Medina, Ainurs, Mosque Maryam, Chernikotka, Mosque of Monir, resident of Nizhny Novgorod, Mosque Nur, Backwater, Mosque Nur Islam, Ainurs, Mosque Ramadan, Babushkina Street, Mosque of Fateh, Tlumilino, Mosque Fatkislam, on March, Mosque Hamza, Sipilovo, Mosque Shukran, Flowers of Baskeria, First Cathedral Mosque, Tokayev Street, 4th Cathedral Mosque, Nastaya Karim Street. Educational institutions: Russian Islamic University of Central Muslim Spiritual Board of Russia, Islamic College, Madrasa of Maryam Sultanova of the Spiritual Administration of Muslims of the Republic of Bashkortostan, Islamic College, Madrasa Kali of the Spiritual Administration of Muslims of the Republic of Bashkortostan. Other faiths are also registered: the old belief communities of Bespopovets, Istasab of Consent and the Pomer Consent. Exist a house of worship of Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Since 2001. Evangelic Lutheran Church. Since 2010. A house of worship of Seventh-day Adventist Church and other religious movements. In 2008 in Ufa they first appeared. In post-Soviet time. A synagogue and the Jewish Communal Center on Blucher Street. Press. The first printing house in Ufa opened in 1801 for needs of office of the civil governor. The first in Ufa and provinces the Orenburgskaya Gubenskaya Vedomosti newspaper was printed since 1838. Since 1865 the Ufa provincial sheets were printed. The first book in the city was published in 1853. In 1879-1883 there was the first magazine, Westnik Ufimskiego Zemstva. In 1918 in Ufa the famous Czech writer Jaroslav Gashik worked. Here he published the newspapers, Nashput, Krasnaya Evropa, wrote a series of stories and Fowielans. From the diary of the Ufa bourgeois, the Ufa Ivan Ivanovich, about the Ufa robber, the shopkeeper Bulakulin, Priasvaishany Lord Andrei, 2 shots.
The oldest newspaper, Republic of Bashkortostan, conducts history since 1906 from the Avimsky Rabiki newspaper. The newspaper in Bashkortostan conducts history since 1917 from the Bashort of Abiarina Etifatu Makbara newspaper.
The newspaper in Tatar Kaizeldat conducts history since 1918 from the Bashkordistan newspaper. The city newspaper, Evening Ufa, appears since 1969. The newspaper in Bashkir, Tuakat F, is issued since 2002.
The weekly newspaper, Afimskaya Vedomosti, in the form of appendix to the Ufa magazine appears since 2002.
Since 1923 there is an Agidal magazine, the literary and art and social and political magazine in Bashkir. Since 1929 the magazine for children and young people in Bashkir Amanet is issued.
The only literary magazine in Bashkortostan in Russian in a format of Fadman, Belsky Open Spaces, appears since 1998. Monthly Capital Ufa magazine appears since 2001.
Broadcasting. In 1927 the Ufa Broadcasting Company was created. Since August 1928 regular broadcasts in the Bashkir and Russian languages began to be broadcast. Television. The first trial transfer took place on New Year's Eve since 1958 for 1959. Regular one-program broadcasting began since March 1959 with putting into operation of the Ufa Television Center. Digital on-air TV and radio broadcasting of the first 25 talks, 506 match. And the second 43 talks, 650 match. A multiplex is performed. A package TV, radio programs. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.